All right. Good morning, everyone. Dan here with tradingology.com and the trading room for what do we got? July 22nd, 2021. Thursday coming at you. As usual, looks like Dave is being late to be let in the Zoom room, so we'll let him get rolled in here a second and see what's cooking this fine day. Andre, good to see you. Appreciate you joining us. Let us know if you got any questions, throw them in the chat. We will cover it anywhere along the way, obviously. And we see, let me grab Kyle's coming in. Computer's acting a little slow, so we'll see what's going on here. We do have Thursdays, our jobless claims, so we'll take a look at that. Let me get my chat open. There we go. Let me know if you guys can't see me for any reason. And all right, there we are. Looks like Dave's finally getting his audio set up. We'll take a look at the internals real quick because we've had a couple back-to-back days of extremes where we saw the drop, negative 2,500. You guys saw that. And the day after we had the plus 2,000 day, almost a reversal. And today we have opening up close to zero, but it's dropping in a hurry. And we see all negative volume coming in right now, but it's major gaps between the volume and the issues itself. So I don't think I trust this one. And actually looking at, where's my other chart here? I was looking at during the day. Yeah, right here, I got it behind. It's actually a bear trap right now. So I don't think I trust any downward movement right now. We do have very institutional selling. Looks like we got a negative 21 on the supply demand, 23 right now. It is moving down. So on the day though, we'll see where it finishes. It's looking like a bear trap setup currently. So there's Dave coming in with the audio. Good to see you, sir.
Good to see you guys.
Oh, and he's coming to you from New York.
I'm in Times Square this morning.
Very nice.
Did I hear you say that you don't trust this market?
Imagine that. I don't trust this little down move because we got a bear trap showing.
Yeah.
But we do have one on the bearish hurting on the NASDAQ as well. So interesting to watch. Andre says, if you could maybe comment how the internals have to look for positive and negative bias. Oh, we can cover it again for sure. Let me, yeah, I just had the internals. So this is exactly in line with what we like to see for what Dave has coined the phrase years ago when he had one of his biggest trading days ever of a true trend day. So here we have Monday. I'll zoom it in so you can see the whole day here. Let me move over the volume for Monday as well. So these two, I'll do all four just so they're all together. So there's Monday, very extreme, squeeze it in. All right, there's all of Monday. And then the fourth chart over here. Squeeze one more time. All right. So he's looking for when you have positive or negative bias. This is the most negative bias you can have on a daily basis. When the internals open up below negative 2,000. So this is basically, these are the number of issues is what they're called, which always confused me starting on like, what do you mean it's an issue? That means it's a problem? Think of an issue as just a stock. Like Apple is an issue and it's either advancing or it's declining based on the supply and demand coming in the market. So they call them issues. It's probably part of, they try and make things difficult for people, just like options. The more difficult they make
it. When a company creates the stock, they issue the stock to the market to trade. That's why they call it an issue. They issue it to someone else to trade.
There you go. So that makes more sense if that helps you. That never made sense in my brain. You know, I think of an issue as something that I have an issue with you.
Yeah.
So it took me to wrap my head around that. So think of the issues are advancing or declining. These are, so out of the, what is there, 25, 3,000 some possible NYSE issues that can be traded. on any given
Yeah,
day?
the total right now is 3,200, and well, it's about 3,300. Not all of them trade every single day, but the average is around 3,300.
So if that were somehow like negative 3,000, that would mean every single stock would be going down, which I don't think is theoretical. I suppose technically it is possible because everything is possible, but for that to happen would be first, that's for sure.
It would be. I mean, on the day on this day on Monday, 85% of all of the stocks were trading down.
So that's where this comes into play. When we look at this and we see that it's negative 2,000, that means there's 2,000 issues that are going down. Then at the same time, we're looking at the volume that's coming into the entire New York Stock Exchange. And these are showing volume for down orders. Every once in a while, you get a little green tick in here that kind of breaks the true trend rule, which is, it is what it is. We're just monitoring the data. But this is still very bearish. We see it when, and this line here is set up. There's one on the top, one on the bottom. Those are typically where it might make the entire day. This actually hit it in the afternoon. So that's another reason to see if you compare it to other days. So this was Friday when it was bad. So we see it started positive. So there was more up volume just to open the day, but then it quickly turned negative. Normally we see things like this where it just kind of hovers and it's not at a major extreme. So here's a day where it was basically zero all day. This is where you get the choppy back and forth. People say they look at the market and say, I don't get it. It goes up, it goes down. You can't make any sense of it. Well, that's why this is what you see on days like that. So when we're looking for those negative or positive days, like when Friday lined up, these are the days you take advantage of it because you're going to have a very bearish sentiment throughout the entire day, unless these change. It tried to come back above. It had a little rally here from negative, give or take 2,600 to the negative, up to almost negative 2,000. So at this point, this is when the positive also happened just for a brief moment, but then it continued back negative. So this is where you can sell rallies. If you're quick in and out of anything, whether it's a futures instrument, whether it's a stock itself, you can look and see how it's doing. But then the same thing goes to the upside. When you have positive days, and I should say, it is within the first 15 minutes that it needs to be either above or below this line. And you want to see this stair step. And so on down days, you want to see it stair stepping down just like it did here, perfectly formatted. He says, and what if it is between minus 200? You mean minus 2,000? Well, yeah, normally it is going to be in between here. These are the rare days that happen. These are the days you take advantage of, which is what Dave calls the true trend days. So if you want to be the most bullish, it's going to open up positive like it did shortly after. Like this didn't open immediately, but look, after an hour and a half or so, 10 o'clock my time, it was above 2,000 issues to the positive. So here's where you could do what everybody's famous for now and why everybody's jumping on this market is you just buy the dip because it's going to keep going up. And the same thing happens on that day we see here where it was nothing but up volume coming into the market. So they don't happen very often. That's why you want to take advantage of them when they do. So yeah, if normally like today, here we opened up at 0 and now we're down at negative 1,100. So it is definitely a bearish sentiment. So that's where if I put that together with my day trading activities, I'm probably not going to want to be going long on stuff because all the internals are negative. This is a day where I'll probably do more short scalping versus long scalping because I look at this and I say, I'm probably going to have a bearish sentiment because the majority of the issues are going down. We're at negative 1,100 and the volume is coming in down. But here's where I talk about the issues don't match the volume. So I have less confidence in this market to continue to go down because there is not matching volume to the issues that are going down is how I look at that and how I read it. So this would be a day where it's like, okay, if I see maybe a really short-term downward scalp, I'll take it, but I'm not going to trust it like I normally would if these lines were together. Hope that makes sense, Andre. Does that all kind of help more?
Yeah, and those lines, so the pink line is the volume and the yellow line is the number of issues. So you can see that the number of issues, 80% are down. But the volume is only like 65%. So light volume going into all of those issues that are down. And when when there's a big separation like that, it just indicates that there's light volume on a decline, which typically reverses, right? If you don't have a lot of volume, there's not a lot of commitment on the part of traders to trade the market down.
Exactly. And then when I couple that together with the bear trap, that's all the pieces you put together. We look at all the instruments, right? So on the New York Stock Exchange, the balance of power script, which comes from, as you guys all know, the tool itself. So right now, this is flashing a 1 and a 6 on the intraday live indicator. So the 6 column is filled in right now, which is a bear trap. So that's why, yeah, we might get it to go up, or it might go down a little bit, but it probably won't. So that kind of lines up with this. Don't have a whole lot of faith in the downward movement because it's showing both the bear trap and the volume isn't matching. Andre says, so even if the sentiment is negative, the volume is low, so it could reverse. So shorting is risky too. Exactly. That's why I'd be very short term, in and out. That's why I like scalping things on days like this. You can control your risk, turn it on, turn it off, get some small profits, get out. Don't wait for, a 3 or 4 hour move if that's what you're looking to do. So that's how I leverage those for day trading. Doesn't matter whatsoever for position trading or swing trading if you're looking for more of the fundamentals, but that's harder to do these days because the market is so manipulated, because it can be, like we saw, it was just going crazy, and all of a sudden, who knows, BlackRock or some other institution is suddenly putting tons of buy orders to prop up the market again. That's been happening for years now. We can literally see it watching the internals and watching the data happen, where price shouldn't be where it is based on what happens. And then sooner or later, it does correct itself, because the market will always win in the end. They can only manipulate it for so long, and they're showing their skills at that for years.
Well, there was also a clue on the spreadsheet, if you want to bring that up again. If you take a look at the buy sell signal, we were at one of the low. We hit a minus 10 when it was down 725 points. That typically indicates that that buy sell signal fluctuates between plus 10 and minus 10. It can go above or below those, but generally in the 10, 11 range, that's either the top or the bottom of the market.
Yeah, so that one almost hit exactly, like you say, it hit the double digits. And we also had 3 days in a row of price anomalies. That's one thing that we see at ends of cycles as well. So yeah, it peaked at 11 there. Yesterday was a 10, so we're definitely showing the top at the same time that it reversed. The last window, Andre's asking, is the same thing, just looking at it with kind of more of like a ribbon style. So these dots are the same as the lines. So these are just more of the internals. And I look at this one less, but it's just another way to visualize the internals is what it is. And when these start to cross, so here's a good actual right now. See how this gray dot is moving up? If you get a crossover, that's another sign that this isn't going to be long-lived, or once they start squeezing together. So they're very far apart. It's like these are far apart. They're similar. This is the MTXL internals versus the original. This is the original script that Dave built, is this one right here. This is where it all started. And these two are just tickers, which we now use because TOS has them. We used to do it advancing minus declining, volume up minus volume down. Now they literally have $ADD and $VOLD, because they probably saw so many people using it, because Dave's taught so many people how to trade that he said, hey, we probably need a ticker for this. But these are actual indicators. So this isn't something you can just pull up on the chart. These two are literally just the scripts itself running and looking at the internals. This is what takes processing power. So you can't run like these on your phone. Well, maybe someday your phone will, but I wouldn't try it yet. But these actually take a lot of computing power to display these. When you add that to, the balance of power, you'll actually exercise your computer pretty well.
Yeah, I think I successfully added the the market timer XL, but it didn't show up because it does need more processing power. It has to calculate the advanced declines and the volume, and it's just, I don't think their mobile platform is that powerful yet.
Right.
I mean, you can do simple moving averages, but you can't do any calculations in there.
So the lines represent the issues in the volume. And I don't recall the last three off the top of my head. If you remember those, Dave, or I can pull up the script if we need to. That's the last thing Andre was asking here for the MTXL internals version.
I believe it's the outside are the volumes and the inside are the issues. And then the red line is the average of the issues. And so what it's basically telling you the same story as the Excel, only in a different way. And you kind of want to see you kind of want to see them, like you said, you hit it perfectly, is that when those dots start to come together, that's typically the true trend. When they separate, it means look for a change in trend.
So similar to the issues here, look at Monday, since we were looking at Monday earlier, is they were completely below this 20% line. So this green line's at 20, the red line's at 80. Those are percentages. So you can't go above or below 0 or 100. And so we see on the true trend day, it was all down. If this gray were to cross over, like see the next day open up where it was very bullish, the gray's on the top. So if you see the gray cross over to the top, that's a sign of a reversal, and vice versa to the downside.
Or they start to come together.
Yeah, or squeeze together, exactly. So on the positive day, we see the up here above 80%, but it never dropped below, so there's never a drop that day. Same thing for yesterday, but see how they're getting wider. That's one thing you watch for. It's just like now they're still wide, just like there's a gap in here. So there's less confidence. Same thing, just another way to look at it. Some people like different views of things, right? Whether it's colors, sticks, candles, you name it, Japanese candles. They're all different views, and you can make these look whatever you prefer. Awesome. Glad that helped. We'll definitely make sure we tag this guy for internals, because I know we do get people that do ask about it. So appreciate it. If you got the question, Andre, I'm sure many others do too. So anybody else has questions like that, or if you don't make the lives, always shoot them over an email. If you want a certain topic looked at, we will definitely cover what you guys need help with. So we're always happy to dive into that. And we see not much movement has happened. I should make mention, yeah, we're just about on the flat line for the Dow itself. Tech is up a little, about 0.5%. SPX is up slightly, 0.1. And it is Thursday, so I would be remiss if Dave, we didn't quickly talk about, since we are getting low on time, but no problem. Look what we got here. Unemployment claims forecast is 350, right? Mm-hmm. Forecast is wrong, Bob. Just like the weather, 419.
Wow.
And look at what the stock market say about it. Oh, it's well above expectations. Bloomberg says,
I think everybody thinks that, hey, this is just going to be on a downward trajectory, so that we're going back into the reopen. Why is there a sudden jump, almost 100,000 more unemployment claims?
Labor market churn on Bloomberg. Oh, it's a surprise gain. Oh, surprise. We will definitely cover fibs on another time. I don't have, but yeah, appreciate the note there, Andre. He's got to know, can you cover fib stuff? We will definitely take another day on that. Absolutely. I love the fibs. That is more of a longer term one. I mean, technically you can use them short term too, because it is a very interesting recurring theme in the world. So yeah, they do actually work all the way down to 1 minute charts. I don't do it very often on short charts. I do more on the month, day, weeks is where I use them typically, but they do work on just about any time frame. That's what makes them magical. How are the futures looking at the end of the session here? Yeah, we're NQ is rolling up. Everybody's kind of happy there.
Yeah, NQ looks pretty good. Everybody else is kind of chopping around. RTY is down a little bit this morning. Did a little trade on that. Made a few bucks. YM just chopping up and down in a range. I don't know. This is kind of a very strange market, because the spreadsheet is really giving us a clue that, hey, things have really been oversold, and we bounced back from those levels, and now it's kind of like, all right, where are we going? Where are we going, guys? I'm still keeping my eye on the dollar because I think that's telling the story. We were down this morning pretty significantly. Looks like we bounced back a little bit here. We're only down to 0.04% at this point. So we'll see. We'll see. I think the dollar is going to tell the story. If we get a lot of competition for dollars, we could see the market go lower. We may make a new high though. After Monday's action, we had Tuesday and Wednesday, pretty strong bull market, strong internals, way above that 80% level, which may mean we may go to new highs. Cryptocurrency bounced back a little bit too. Had a really big move on XLM. I'm not quite sure what the deal was, but about 2-3 o'clock in the morning, XLM started railing from that 20-cent level, 22-cent level, all the way up to 26. Not quite sure what's going on there, but it looks like a lot of Asian buying came into to XLM. XRP, not quite as much. Sometimes XRP and XLM kind of trade together, but not this time. XLM was up almost 10%. Well, it's actually up 15%. So
Yeah.
not sure what's going on with XLM, but it's one of my favorite tradable coins when I do trade them. I haven't traded it in a while. But yeah, it looks like that 19-cent level on XLM seems to be some sort of support.
Yeah, it's bouncing off that 1920 there, kind of a double bottom.
We'll see if it bounces back. If it goes back down into that area again, remember, just like Bitcoin breaking through 30,000, we could end up seeing it at 20. And XLM could do the same thing. If it starts bouncing down to, not bouncing, but declining down to that 20-cent level again, we could break that 19 cents and we'll go lower.
Look at Bitcoin yesterday. The low was 29,500 on the nuts.
Wow.
How is that possible? Because there's a whole pile of orders there yesterday.
Probably. Yeah.
Look at that. Watch right there. You can see it. I'll hover over it again. 20, literally to the penny.
To the penny. How does that happen, huh?
Those are odd. Whenever I see interesting stuff like that, that's raises an eyebrow.
Yeah. I mean, there's great potential for manipulation in the crypto market, just like stocks, and big players will put in those round numbers, and hey, if it dips below 30, they want to buy it.
Right.
29.5. I'm not sure exactly, Andre, what's going on with the XRP lawsuit. I have not kept track of that at all. It's still ongoing, as far as I know. BTC, I think, is going to drop more. Yeah, I think it will.
Yeah, there's the quick view of the fibs on that. Our fib target is 20,297.
Yeah,
could easily go to that because it's in this downtrend. That's the next fib target. Unless it breaks 45, which it's nowhere near it anymore, but cryptocurrency could be there tomorrow. Anything's possible.
Yeah.
But it's more likely, higher probabilities, it's going to go to 20 than it's going to go to 100 right now. That's just based on data and not personal thoughts. That's just reading the numbers. Here's the last one I'll leave you with. Remember, all the rage was lumber? We're back down to normal levels. Well, it bounced off 500 and the last couple of days it's went up. But it was almost 1,600. Look at that. Literally bounced. What's the low on that? Look at that. We just talked about it. The low was 500 on the nuts.
Ooh, interesting, huh?
Look at that.
Wow, exactly 500.
Let me make this the long term.
What's the percentage decline on that?
I'll go away. Look what else it hit.
Oh, it hit that fib.
It didn't break it though.
Pretty darn close.
491 because it stopped at 500.
Yeah.
So it didn't quite make the 1921, then we started going down. So that fib will be broken soon unless it comes back up.
What's that percentage decline there?
From the top,
Yeah.
that is 71%.
Where's the inflation? Where is that inflation?
It's interesting that this just happened in another headline I just saw. Let's see if it's still floating around. There it is. So we talked about how this affects the housing market. Sales of existing homes rise slightly as more listings finally hit the market. So more people are suddenly selling. How is that tying into cost of new? I don't know. This isn't going to affect the market in a day, but it's
Right.
one of those, here's the price of lumber now is way down compared to what it was in, May, June, July, where it was just crazy. I mean, people couldn't find lumber, or if they could, they had no idea what they were going to be charged for it because the price changed every week or every day. Now we're back down to normal levels. I say normal because it typically is, when it broke that 600, that was crazy as of 2018. Normally, if we look long term, the last decade, it floats between 200 and 500. So is it going to return there, or is it going to bounce back up? We'll see.
Andre asks, what is the general situation with commodities still in a downward cycle and not time to go long? We actually covered that in the Wealth Masterclass at the beginning of the session yesterday. Andre, I don't know if you were in right on time for the Wealth Masterclass. I think you were there, weren't you?
Might have been after he joined, I think so.
Yeah, you may have come in a little bit late. When the replay is up and running, take a look at it. I did cover commodities and the cycles.
It will be up later today, so I'll throw a heads up in the Slack when that is finally available. It's rendering and uploading and all that fun is happening right now.
Yep. And when you take a look at it, if you have any questions, just go ahead and throw your question into the Slack channel for the Wealth Masterclass.
Perfect. And with that, we're getting close to the top. So as always, Dave, we appreciate your time and your insights. It's been a great session today. Andre, appreciate all of your questions. So that helps whatever you guys help and need. It helps us give you guys to make you better. That's our number one goal, is real life stuff, not just trying to be hype, not trying to whatever. The more I do this, the more I feel better watching people overnight. I jump on the Slack channel in the morning and I see guys trading and making a couple $100. It's like fantastic. I love it. So my goal is to make you guys successful.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you, Dan. Thanks, Andre, Kyle. Good to see you guys. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you on Tuesday.
Sounds good, guys. Take it easy, Dave.